Y'all ain't heard nothing like this before. Beat him in the head with this trilogy. Who dropped this for a certain demographic? Turn it up, blast it. This is gonna be a classic. Facts. Not your run of the mill.
Hey, all my paisans and gomadas, welcome. Episode 26, Gangsters and Cigars. It's gonna be a great episode tonight. I'm Bobby Bacala, your host, and my sidekick,
Shirtless Mike, and I'm shirtless.
Shirtless in
and
the
it feels
house.
good.
So, Mike, I know you were slinging ash all day today at smoke rings. As you guys can see, we are at our homes today, not at smoke rings, because we have a guest. And we just had one of the most hellacious storms come through Brevard County. So our friends and family that are in Brevard County know what we just went through. Had one of my club brothers just lost part of his home during this storm down in Melbourne, which, you know, was crazy.
Wow, I live in Melbourne, so yeah.
Oh, definitely. No, it was bad, man. I was on my bike. I picked up my bike from Keith Coleman, Bad Influence Customs, and got on it and said, this ain't going to work out. Made it to the mall, parked the bike underneath the overhang, and probably was there for an hour and a half before I was even able to get on it and make the trek back. Anyway.
Well, glad you're safe.
Yeah, thank you. So tonight's guest, and then we'll do our thanks to everybody real quick. Very, very dear friend of mine, Keith Hill, who is the champion from Forged in Fire, one of the coolest badass blade makers that I know. I'm proud and honored to call him a brother. He's also retired law enforcement. He was an operator like myself, did organized crime like myself. We have a certain bond. He has an amazing wife as well, who also is retired law enforcement. We're going to talk about how Keith got started, what his first blade was, what got him into it. It's kind of a cool story. We'll tell some more stories, go through when he was in Forged in Fire and the process, and then he was on another show with Goldberg, the wrestler, who had a knife show as well, and we'll talk about that as well. Before we get started, let's do a shout out. So thanks to our sponsors, Lou from Smoke Rings. Sorry we're not there tonight, guys. The weather sucked, and this was just so much easier for us to do. But thank you, Smoke Rings. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Tommy Law, Rock and Roll Circus in St. Augustine. Thank you to Big Steve Sage, Bully's Tattoo in DeBerry. I miss you, brother. Have a good, safe trip on your cruise that's coming up. Thanks to Keith Coleman, Bad Influence Customs, and our friend of the show as well. Thanks to Alfie and the Tangiers, who also is a big supporter of the show. All right. Got our shout outs, got our thank yous to some sponsors out of the way. I am smoking because we're not smoking the same cigar tonight, because we're not in the same area. But I am smoking a Fuentes Canones. It's a Maduro. First time I'm smoking this one. I am a fan of Fuente, as you know. I picked up a fresh box of these at a really good price. And so I figured, hey, I'm going to try them. I've been taking a couple of puffs so far.
And that lady really didn't know what she was doing, because, not to discuss any particular numbers, but that's, that price is lower than the wholesale. So
no, that it was an insane price. It really was, and I snatched it. So it's not a heavy Maduro. It's definitely a solid medium Maduro. It has that definite leather earth flavor to it.
And that's a big son of a gun too.
Oh, it is. It is. My wife just told me that before I lit the cigar up tonight. But
you like long, dark things in your mouth, don't you?
Not I. I've been accused of a lot of fucking things in my life, Mike. That's not one of them. Anyway,
Absolutely not. Yep.
it. I mean, it definitely tastes like that dirt and leather flavor. That Fuentes. A lot of the cigars have that taste to it, very natural. I kind of dig it. First time I've ever had it. I will I will share them with you. I promise. So when I see you, I'll share them with you. But definitely, definitely a cool smoke. I don't smoke too much heavy anymore. But for a Maduro wrap, it's definitely a solid medium. And yeah, I'm pleased. What are you smoking?
I'm smoking a La Roma de Cuba. I was gonna light up a fresh one, but so this is what the band looks like. Except I'm smoking the Churchill size, same blend, just a different size. I was smoking this at work and on my way home, so it's like looks like that now. But this cigar is one of my favorites. The Churchill size is, I'm sure I've smoked it on the show before, or because I've smoked it so many times. But great price point, under $10. And then you can't go wrong with it. It's an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, I believe, and Nicaraguan binder and filler. If I'm mistaken, if not that's about as close. But anyway, really, it's a solid medium cigar. It's got lots of different notes. It's got some leathery notes. It's got a little bit of spice, but not really so much pepper, but more so the spice. A little bit of earth, a little bit of nuttiness as well. It just, different points of the cigar it hits, but this cigar, it lasts a long time, and it's just a good everyday price point cigar that, anybody that loves cigars that, if you like solid mediums, this is definitely the cigar to smoke because it's solid and it lasts a long time, full of great flavor all the way up to the end.
I'm a little Roma fan. What are the ones that I like that I started smoking?
Oh, you like the Mi Amor,
I like the Mia Moore, and there was another one.
the one with the red label. That's the oh, I can't think of it. Anyway.
Yeah, but for the price point, I mean, I'm a huge fan.
Oh yeah.
The Mia Moore, I really like.
Oh yeah. We just got some stuff in today from Ashton and La Roma de Cuba and one of the Magnifico size.
Haven't tried one of those yet. So, what's new in the house over at Smoke Rings? Any new cigars I should know about that maybe I want to try?
Yeah, we got the new Partagas cigar. It was made at El Titan de Bronze in Miami. Sandy from El Titan de Bronze and Justin Andrews blended this cigar. Justin Andrews is from Scandinavian Tobacco, basically the parent company in general. And
Right.
it is a $23 cigar. Do I think it's worth $23? No. And I even talked to Justin about it. He said, well, that's kind of what happens when you make a cigar here in America. The price point's going to be higher. It is a good cigar, but to me, like I've talked to another rep about it, and I was like, to me, it's like a $11-12 cigar at the most.
Right.
But I mean, if you feel like splurging and want something that's a solid cigar that burns well, it has great ash, the Partagas de Bronze, that's an excellent cigar. And we also, I'll talk about it on here. I can't post it on the Smoke Rings social media, but we just got a few boxes of Opus in today, finally, after, just
Nice.
qualifying to be an Opus shop. So
Right. Nice.
I forgot off the top of my head, but you just have to come in and see which one, because there's 3 different boxes, and can't talk that much about it because I can't post it on the Smoke Ring social
I
media.
gotcha.
But I could talk about it here just because
I gotcha.
not every single person, there's people that go to Smoke Rings that watch us, but some of that. I mean, what else? Got a few new
So,
things.
well, for our fans of my Hitman blend, we'll be having a cut and light on my Hitman cigars this month to be announced. I know you're going to put some stuff out on social media and on the Ring's website, but we're going to get that date hopefully within the next couple of days. Then come out and meet me and you, try some of the Hitman blend, and just have a good time. Bullshit, tell some more stories, and so on and so forth. All right, so my dear friend Keith Hill, who has been patiently waiting after our technical difficulties and finally got him into the show. I'd like to introduce him now. Again, the champion from Forged in Fire, one of my dearest friends. And I appreciate him coming on the show and going to expand on how he got into the whole forging. As a matter of fact, he'll also talk about he's building a forge that's insane, but I'm going to let him explain it to you. He does a lot of charity work, his wife and him. Always out to help the community, which is amazing. They both have huge hearts. But the forge, he's a historian as well. He does teach and do shows on blacksmithing, which is cool. So without further ado, the one, the only, the blade master, the blade king, the swashbuckler soul, Keith Hill.
Bobby!
What up, my brother?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. And thank you so much for coming on. So what do you think, man? The swashbuckler of soul.
Hey, I like it.
I'm thinking that we're gonna have to start using that, man.
Why not?
That's really a good new handle.
It's got a good ring to it.
Absolutely. So prior to coming on, I know you heard, and I told everybody that you're a retired LE, and we're both operators, and
yep.
That's how we came to be, and we won't discuss
Absolutely.
some of the operator stuff we've done. Other than that, we have played in the same pool once or twice.
Same box.
Absolutely, man. All right, so tell us to begin with how you got started forging. I know the story. I think the story is great. So being retired, Keith and I tend to drive our beautiful wives out of their mind.
Oh, yes.
So, and as you know, my passion for collecting and stuff like that. Keith, how'd you start forging?
Well, I first got into working with metal when I owned a landscape and tree company prior to becoming a cop. And so with that, of course, we all know landscapers make so much money.
Oh, yeah.
The same thing with cops.
Oh no, yeah.
There seems to be a trend here, but becoming a cop, it just really drew me to edge weapons and really wanted to understand how to make a really good blade, because a lot of the blades that were available to all the law enforcement were okay, not great, but okay. And I really wanted to go for that ultimate blade that could do just about anything. So when I retired after 20 years, destroyed my knee, and that's a whole nother story. But tried retirement for a year and a half, having a full-time job of annoying the living hell out of my wife. She said, "You need an occupation." So with that, she said, gave me a horseshoe and said, "I bet you can't make a blade out of this horseshoe." Now, with that being said, I'm a very competitive person.
No, say it's not.
So when a challenge like that is posed to me, I have to accept and come out on top. So she gave me the horseshoe. She went shopping like she always does, and then came back 6 hours later, and sure enough, I had a knife made. Well, a word traveled to a lot of our friends that I got into this new hobby. So a few parting friends of ours wanted a sword. So they asked me to make a sword for them. Okay, I acquiesced and said, all right, I'll make a sword. And then another and another, and kind of snowballed into this big hobby of mine that kind of turned into a small business, just making blades and making knives and swords, and got into Damascus and all kinds of crazy stuff. And my wife said, you know what? You should try that new show that just came out called Forge and Fire. I'm like, oh, come on, really? I'm not good enough for that show. So I saw the flyer for Forge and Fire on the Facebook, and emailed the producer. And within a half an hour, about 11:30 at night, I get a email back from her. And it just started a whole flurry of emails, Skype interviews, all kinds of stuff for about 2.5 months. And that went back and forth for quite a bit. And it went blank for about 3 weeks. Didn't hear anything from them. The main producer gave me a call and said, all right, we want you on. You're going to be up here 4 more days. We're going to give you the flight information. You're going to get the tickets, and you're going to be up here in the studios. Wow. Okay. So I had to drop everything, and I live down in Florida now. So the studio that we filmed that was up in Brooklyn, New York. And it was a lot of fun. So I kind of went back to my old stopping grounds and felt very, very at home, and competed with 3 other bladesmiths. And they were all panicking, and being a law enforcement, you got to think real fast on your feet, be real calm, be like a duck, paddle like hell underneath, nice and smooth on top.
Absolutely.
So I was just having a whole lot of fun. I didn't let anything bother me. And I was fortunate enough to come out on top and win that episode. And then 2 years went by. That was in 2016.
And what blade was that, Keith?
That was the Greek Zephos. That is a secondary weapon to the operator. And that would be in the left hand.
Right.
And the shield would go across the forearm. The blade would come down out of the arm or out of the hand. And the spear would be in the right hand. That was the main weapon. So if the operator lost the spear, they would immediately go right to the Zephos and conduct business that way. And a very, very effective weapon.
And it will kill.
What's that?
It will kill.
Oh, it will kill. And very, very effective weapon. It was a double-edged, leaf-shaped blade, and just a devastating pierce in the front of it, and just right down into the cavity right there, and that'll ruin your day pretty good. So, but it was an awesome weapon, and it cut real well. I was really kind of upset, though, because this is right around when the TV was trying to be very friendly with everybody and not show too much gore. So
I gotcha.
The Doug Marcaida was doing some of the tests on the torso.
The gel?
Yep, the gel torso, and blood went splattering all over the place, and it just they said it was too gruesome. So they didn't show that test, but they showed all the other tests. And I think the coolest scene, but they never showed it on the film, was after they got done conducting the test on the torso. It was all the fake blood was still on the blade, and they put it back into the holder, and the blood was dripping off of the blade right onto the table. Oh.
Nice. So you get through that, you win that.
Yep.
What happens?
So 2 years goes by, and they are putting together this new show called Knife or Death, and it's hosted by Goldberg, the wrestler. Man, I'll tell you, that guy is all business. That guy, whew. He has, I think, it's something like 3% body fat. It's just he's incredible, and just a very imposing guy. But off camera, he's just like this. Guys getting together and talking. Awesome guy.
That's
And,
cool.
Yeah, real cool.
I grew up with watching Goldberg wrestling, so.
Oh yeah, he's a one heck of a guy, and he his wife rules the roost. She's like,
so he's not
like
that big.
No. She's like 5 foot nothing.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
So weren't you a judge on that show, though?
No. I would love to have been, but no, I wasn't.
You competed on the show.
I competed on the show, so it was season 2, episode 1, and it was the All-Star edition where some of the winners from Forge and Fire had to make their own blade and then go through the obstacle course. So for the Knife or Death was an obstacle course that set up with 2 parts. The first part, you had 7 competitors that would go through this obstacle course that you had to use your blade to cut, slice, and chop, and get through the obstacle. And it was done where if you missed the obstacle or didn't get all the way through, you get assessed a 30-second penalty along with the amount of time that you took to complete that obstacle.
Right. I remember watching the show.
Yep. So the cool thing about it was it allowed you to make any blade that you wanted for the show, thinking that you didn't have the parameters of the tests that they were going to throw at you, but so you just had to make up a blade that you would think would perform the best. And so I did mine with it was a hybrid between a machete and a kukri. Kukri is kind of like, looks like a banana with a real sharp edge on one end. And man, I'll tell you, this blade was a killer. It sliced and diced anything and everything it came up against. And I don't want to go into the actual geometry of it. I could sit here for half an hour and tell you.
I know.
I'm a little passionate about my blades, but it just went in there and just conducted business and just ripped everything apart. It was awesome.
You did the fish at the end, the rope, right?
Oh yeah. And the cool thing, I remember very distinctly when I was going through the first part of the course, that I started going through the course so fast that the camera couldn't keep up. There were probably about 80 people behind the set following as I was going through the course. They had to stop me so they could get the camera caught up.
Needless to say, you won.
Yes, that I won. Then we went into the Grand Championship, which was another episode. That was episode 8. And I was fortunate enough to go up against all the other winners from all the other episodes and won that one too. So that was a lot of fun. It kind of brought back memories of the old operator days.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, right in your wheelhouse. So you mean to tell me you weren't wielding a blade from Pakistan for $19.99 on Amazon?
There was a guy that did have a blade, not on my episode, but the season prior to me. He had a blade from Pakistan, and the first obstacle he went against, it blew apart.
Nice. Nice. It's just, it's funny because I watched some of the episode and the attire that some of these guys came in and some of these blades these guys came in with. And, I used to sit on the couch and piss myself and go,
oh,
come on,
God.
man.
Yeah.
And you and I have both actually seasoned close quarter and knife combatants. And to watch these people who probably watched one too many Five Fingers of Death movies or, I'm a Ninja movie, and to see them wield something. And, it's funny because you catch Goldberg's expressions every once in a while. And he wanted to piss himself.
With the face.
Yeah, he wanted to piss himself. And I remember some of the comments that he made and stuff. And matter of fact, I caught both your episodes naturally before you and I became friends. But it is absolutely comical. So going from the blade and then speaking our language as an operator and learning and knowing how to use a blade, because most people, we all know, doesn't know the proper use of a blade. Or trapping, they don't understand that you can actually trap, block, and then finish your opponent with a blade. I mean, so it's, it was a great show. I don't know if you remember, and let me see if I get it right. So it used to do computer analysis and then have like different warriors from different eras.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
And they did all the tests on the ballistic dummies.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. That was like one of my favorite shows, Yep. And the Roman and Greek and the American Indians that, let's face it, they were badass. They had the Norse and I know you've made a couple of axes, haven't you?
Oh yeah. Just a lot of different types of edge weapons, and it's. So
what's your favorite? Oh, and you got a great, for our fans and friends out there, Keith has an amazing line of blades for chefs. We spoke about that a couple of weeks ago, which is amazing. That whole line, and I wouldn't mind carrying one of those blades because they're pretty badass. So if you could slice and dice a piece of steak, you can slice and dice somebody's ass. So I dig those blades. But what is your favorite blade?
Well, I don't think there's any one blade that covers it all, but for close quarters combat, I would say this little boot knife that I'm currently making, it is just one badass blade. It fits in the palm of your hand either way, up the back, up front. Twirl it around, and it's a very comfortable blade, but oh my god, it's just freaking devastating. It's just quick access to the boot and just out and conducts business very quickly, and it's a cool little blade. It's not anything that you will look at it and be blown away, but you would have to put it into the palm of your hand to feel how it sits in the palm of the hand, where it rides on the fingers, the guard, and the ricasso just fit right in nice and tight. The pummel, where it comes out by the pinky, just wraps around and gets just a good hold, and then the nice little swell inside of the palm. Oh my gosh, I'm just getting all excited here.
Is that the blade we spoke about a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. So like if we were doing operator shit, that would be your choice.
Oh yeah. That would be. It gets done. It takes care of business very quickly. Very quickly.
What about any Japanese short blades? I'm a fan of some of the Japanese short blades. I don't know.
To tell you the truth, that there is a chef blade. It's a Gayoto chef blade. Oh my lord! Oh, this thing is just sick. I mean, if you cut somebody with this thing, you wouldn't even feel it. It's just it'll cut a grape where you can't even see the grape. It's just that you see the blade, and it just goes right through.
That's sick.
There's no resistance whatsoever.
That's absolutely crazy. So
Yeah.
the Tanto, and you're not a fan, or?
No, I like it. It's a good fighting blade.
It was my choice on teams when I was traveling.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's definitely the shorter version.
Yes, yes.
Because there's several
Absolutely.
different versions, but yeah, the Tanto, yes, that is the very tip of the Tanto. That's called the lipstick on the blade. That's
Right.
the leading edge, and that the geometry on a Tanto blade acts more like a plow than like a chef blade, where
Right.
it goes real super fast. You have to have a lot more force behind it rather than just quick and right in.
You're right. You're right. So all the years studying Filipino knife fighting and other stuff, and the reason why I went to that blade, it was more accessible to carry on my rig.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
As opposed to some of the other blades.
It did. The Tanto does have a great spine on it, though.
Yes,
so
it does.
if you were to go in, hit a bone, and rack it back, it could take that. It wouldn't snap.
Yes. And it. Give me a second. Not saying that I have firsthand knowledge, but it goes right through.
So when you're carving a turkey, it goes right through, and
it does. Yes,
Sure,
bone
sure.
and all.
You can cut the leg right off. Yep.
Yes, Thanksgiving dinner.
Sure.
It did the trick. So, changed my mind now. Like we've been talking about different blades and stuff, but that was my go-to.
Yeah, no, it's a very good. Yeah, absolutely. It carves the wings up pretty good too.
Yes. So that absolutely, Mike. I know you're saying, what are these fucking guys talking about on Thanksgiving? But I'll talk to you off air exactly what I mean. I'm trying to.
No, I mean, I pretty much get the point.
Politically correct, huh?
I said, no, I get what you're saying. I know how to, break, go, speaking codes. So
No, it was not. We're not talking to codes. We're just trying to be polite. And it held up good with the wind and sand.
Yeah.
So, just saying. All right. Now, everybody knows you're the champion. Keith is the shit. I gave you a new name. Talk about some of your historical involvement, like in St. Augustine, and then isn't there a fort up in Ocala that you were demonstrating with this week? Can you give us a little bit on that?
So, my wife, I would say probably about 10th grade, got into the reenacting world. And I met her when she was in 12th. I was in 10th. High school sweethearts. And being a cop, I was not going to put on all kinds of silly clothes and grow my hair long. And no.
Look at us now.
Long hair.
I got you.
She got me into the reenacting world, and that's really where the swords came in fact. So we started off with the pirate reenacting and in the St. Augustine area. I really enjoyed it. Did a lot of, and still am doing a lot of charity work. Make a lot of swords for knives for charity work to be auctioned off to help out those
Yes, you do.
charities that need the help, and glad to do it. And because for so long we would just take, and have the worst scenarios thrown at us when we were working. And now I'm able to give back to society and help society, and it puts a great smile on my face. And being able to help people that are in need, and I've been blessed enough to have this skill that I just want to help other people out with it. So,
And we've done some charity together.
Yeah.
Last. So, your beautiful wife, tell our fan base who she's a direct descendant of.
she's a direct descendant of Queen Margaret from. I don't know the exact dates. I think it's she's probably going to kick me right in the cojones, but probably like I believe it's like 1266, and she has traced the lineage all the way back to her, and it's a very it's a direct descendant. So it's she gets to portray her quite a bit. She hand sews all of her own gowns,
They're
just
amazing.
unbelievable. The one gown alone has over 1,000 hand sewn pearls on the dress. It takes her, I would say, 2 to 3 months to make a gown.
And that was of Scotland.
Yep, of Scotland, and she. Oh gosh, it just the amount of detail that she puts into her gowns is just unbelievable. She does so much research, studies, books, and reads, and goes to several different shows. She's talked to several different history buffs. She has gone to several museums and actually not just looked at, but held the dresses that she used to wear. Just incredible.
So now,
Incredible.
correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't I like the first person she's knighted? And
Yep, you were the first.
yes, and is an honor that I was knighted by her, being a direct descendant. And so, Mike, it's Sir Robert when you fucking see me.
Sir Robert.
Don't get it twisted, brother.
All right,
So,
next time I see you, I'm like, "What's up, Sir Robert? How you doing, sir?"
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. So you did demonstrations over at the quarters in St. Augustine at their forge, correct?
Yes, they do have a not a coal forge; it's a charcoal forge over there, and just a really cool little spot. And so I did some demonstrations over there, and love teaching the young kids. They are so wanting to learn how to forge. Whenever they hear the music of the hammer hitting the anvil, it's just like playing the flute and having all the kids come running around you.
No, it's exciting. So tell us about this forge that your personal forge that you're building that I know you were telling me about, but it's crazy.
It is. So the forge that we're building right now, I work for Dinkins Construction in
Right.
the city of Ocala, and so we're building the forge at this fort, Fort McCoy. No, God, I worked there all day long, and I can't remember the name of it now. I'm having a senior moment.
You're allowed, dude. You're allowed to lose some brain cells.
Fort King. So it's a Fort King in the city of Ocala, and So Fort King was the outpost for Washington, D.C. In the Northern Territories of Florida in 1835. Um, the blacksmith shop that we're currently building is right on the exact spot of where the old original blacksmith shop was. And they have drawings of the actual fort along with the blacksmith shop that we're building. So this blacksmith shop is historically correct. In the building itself, there are over 2,000 hand forged nails, which I forged. All of the hinges for the doors, the hinges for the windows, all the bolts that lock the doors that go down into the ground. Um, on the laps for the windows to come in to lock the windows, all those are all hand forged. There is a forge that was built on the inside of this building. Now the building is 12 foot deep by 16 foot wide by 16 foot high.
Wow.
There is a living quarters up on the second floor to show where the blacksmith would sleep up in the living quarters and then do all the forging down on the ground at the forge. There is a forge that we built, and I'm actually in the process right now of still building the bellows, the air pump out of just the cypress that this whole entire building was made out of. And one of the posts in the corner, so they're all 8x8 cypress posts. One of the posts in the corner is as old as the original fort was.
Wow.
So the center of this tree was alive when this fort was being originally built.
That's amazing. Now, is this going to be your home base where you're going to do all of your personal stuff as well?
No, this is owned by the city of Ocala, and I'll be doing some demonstrating there. The Bill Rodriguez, he is the head of the Parks Department in the city of Ocala, and he's been looking for me for the past 6 years to build this. And when he found out that I worked for this construction company, they told my boss to put a bid in. I don't care what the cost is, you're going to get it because you are going to build it correctly. So I was extremely flattered by that. It was
That's
just
cool.
it was, but also put a lot of pressure on me too to make sure that every single nail was done the way it's supposed to be done.
I can't wait to come up there and see it. And I know you have your own home forge that you.
I do. So right on the property here, we have a 40 by 80 barn, and it's got the 3,600 pound power hammer. The head that goes up and down is 100 pounds. The press, all the grinders, and all the hammers, and all the accoutrement that goes with it, and I am like a kid out there,
Good for
just
you.
like in a candy store. I'll
Good
tell
for
you,
you.
like turn into this little kid. I'm like,
Good
woo!
for you. And what's the name of your company so people watching the podcast know your knife company?
So it's BD as in Bravo Delta Blades, BD Blades, and kind of a little story behind that. When we first started pirating, I had to come up with my pirate name, and it was given to me by my wife. So you can see where I'm going with this. She called me BD Blades. The correct, or not the correct, but the politically correct name would be Big Dog.
Right.
I'm sure you can go there and figure that one out.
I got it right. Good. I'm hung like a bull hamster. I'd be like bull hamster Blades. But, you know.
Yep. So I got all kinds of neat toys in there. It's just, it looks like a mad scientist room. It's just stuff all over the place. It's like a controlled chaos, and I love doing it. But right now I'm just finishing up all the forging for the fort, and then I'll be getting back to doing all the blades. But I do a lot of classes for, especially law enforcement, for our orange services, that especially the guys that have PTSD, because I got it myself, and I can relate to them.
And we spoke about that. And
Yep.
unfortunately, the scarring for us and our brothers in the military and law enforcement,
Yep.
you just can't get rid of those scars. We can think we put bandages over them, but
Yep.
the best thing for that, like you and I have spoken about, is you and I speaking with some of our other brothers. But
Absolutely.
I'm making it there, and I'm making a fucking rudimentary blade one of these days with these, just so I can say I did it. You know, it's one of those cool things, and you and I spoke about maybe one of these days doing a blade show, maybe for some of our friends in the Celtic and pirate community, and maybe one day we'll fuck around. I know you and your wife do a really cool little skit. She almost cut off your colognes at Rumfest, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I had to convince her not to, otherwise there wouldn't be a little service.
No, exactly. And actually, the blade that she used to knight me with, she made sure was the blade that you forged.
Yes, correct.
Which is absolutely breathtaking.
Thanks.
That is absolutely breathtaking. And so those people, I know what it is, those who are watching. So what blade did she use to knight me with?
So she a Genesis, she doesn't have a super strong grip anymore, so I had to come up with a blade that she would be able to wield very comfortably and maneuver.
Right.
So I made a it's a kind of like a hybrid between an English and a Scottish rapier. So the rapiers are a much thinner blade, but longer. So, and they're not very heavy. So, and it allows her to wield it very quickly. But it's a very devastating blade where if she gets in and stabs it, it's just going to run right through.
Absolutely beautiful blade. And I remember she had you running across the fair we were at to go to the car to get it. She said because she wasn't going to do it unless she had that particular blade. And I remember you running to the car and grabbing the blade. And actually, I have one of the pictures up from that on that little video that I did, and it was beautiful on the water with your blade. She was in full gown, and it was probably one of my favorite moments since getting involved in all of that. Was that? But absolutely a breathtaking blade. I'd love to have you back on where we can talk more on our level as far as being operators and
sure, absolutely,
and the PTSD that we both suffer from, like many of our brothers and sisters. Talk about some of our organized crime. But I did want to dedicate this episode to you being the champion that you are.
Well,
so you need to tell Janice, or I'll tell her Friday when I see you, that we are changing your name officially to the Swashbuckler of Soul. Because I think that is the coolest, smoothest fucking name. It just came out when I was doing your intro, and I'm like,
there you go,
man. I said to myself, man, well, how come I don't have a name like that? That's cool. But, and again, but I truly, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank you for taking the time and talking about bladesmithing and your championship. So before we end, Makita, what kind of guy is he? You there? Or you think you're trying to be politically correct?
No. You're talking about Doug Mercado, right?
Yeah.
Man, he is the coolest freaking guy. He very humble, very quiet. He'll talk to you. No holds barred. He remembered my name at the Blade Show up in Atlanta 3 years after the show.
No, I've seen some of his handiwork. He's a pretty talented, hands-on guy.
Oh my God! So there's very quickly. There's a good story behind him. When you go to shake his hand, it's like shaking a brick. It's holy cow! Just very, very deceiving. He was on the federal level.
Yes.
With number one in the crowd with no weapons. He was the guy that would come up and just take care of a person just like by touching him. It's just, this guy is unbelievable.
Yes.
The amount of training that this guy has. But he, real cool guy, real nice. What you see on the show, that's what he is. He's not one of these guys. Leave me alone. I'm going to go run to my camper, my room. You know, he'll sit there.
I knew his background,
Mm-hmm.
and knew he was a brother.
Yep.
And you know, a lot of people see him in a different light on there. Don't realize that.
Oh yeah, no, he's
not a game when he's wielding any one of those weapons. That he is the expert. He is in these weapons, and I've always been impressed with him. But
yep.
You know, cool story that you know, even 3 years later, he still remembered who you were.
Oh, just incredible.
Very
a real
cool.
Genuine person.
Well, you've absolutely, made a name. You made a dent out of a horseshoe.
Yeah.
So, and you still have it, correct?
I do.
You can't get rid of it. So,
no, I think my wife would give her
no,
another use of it.
Oh, I believe so too. It's a great story how you got into it. I mean, when you told me the story to begin with, I was like, oh, that's a cool story. It's like, leave me, leave me the fuck alone, go out the garage and make something out of nothing.
Oh yeah. I'm perfectly happy doing that. It's,
absolutely. I'm still trying to find, a couple of niches. She's in the other room right now. But as you know, Dawn as well, and
mm-hmm.
I do drive her crazy. Now she says I'm a hoarder with my hobbies. So I don't know. I try to make her happy. But anyway, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll reconnect and talk about doing that other show, which will be, more heartfelt.
Absolutely, yeah.
Love to do. Talk about our operator days and shit like that.
Love to do it.
Give my love. I'll see you Friday. I'm looking forward to it. And
great meeting you, Keith.
Peace out. You have any questions, Mike? Because you've been pretty quiet.
No, I always learn something new, and if it's something I don't have that much knowledge in, like unless I do have a question, I mean, he's pretty much explained himself well, and I just chime in here and there, man.
He did tell me, he was texting me as we were talking, and he said, I got a blade that I could take off Mike's nipples really easy. So I don't put too much weight in it, but he did text me on the side and go, "Shirtless Mike, huh?" He goes, "Let me show you this blade. We can take his nipples right off." I won't let him do it because I love you, Mike. But I'm just telling you, this is what he texted me on the side.
I mean, he can get a lot of money for them. These are some famous nipples in the cigar
They are
industry.
famous, shirtless Mike.
Hey, why do you think I said the Japanese Gayoto?
Absolutely. So, on that note, don't go away. On that note, I want to thank all our sponsors who I mentioned in the beginning. Big shout out, big thank to Keith Hill and B&D Blades. I appreciate it. I will see you for my birthday. I'm looking forward to it. Couldn't ask for a better birthday present. Remind your wife, by the way, that I'm the only one who got the answer right about Astor, Florida.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the story I told her about Noriega actually flying in a clandestine land.
Yeah. Right in Astor. Yep.
That may have been there. So we'll talk about that shit too. I'm going to end it the way I ended every episode. And as some of my familia would say, you could either be seated at the table or you could be on the menu. Ladies and gentlemen, you never want to be on the fucking menu. To that, God bless. Have a great night. And I'll see you all soon.
All right, bye. Bye.